Am I the butthole for telling a guy behind me in the grocery store line to mind his effing business? This happened this morning. I was at the grocery store buying some food, and then while the cashier was done scanning my crap, I asked her to get me a carton of Camels. I don't smoke, they were for my grandpa. So when I asked, the cashier went to the place where they kept them. The guy behind me in line, middle-aged dude, said, "You're so young, you shouldn't be smoking." I don't think this was an appropriate comment even if I did smoke, because it's none of his effing business. I said, "They're not for me, they're for my grandpa." The cashier came back with the cigs and rang them up. And then the dude piped up again and said something about how my grandpa shouldn't smoke either. Listen, my grandpa is 92 years old, smoking makes him happy, and if he wants to smoke, I'm more than happy to help. But none of that was this guy's business, so instead of saying something clever or snappy, I said, "Sorry, but I don't think that's any of your effing business." I was admittedly extremely pissed when I said this. The cashier gave me a look and the guy behind me said, "Sorry." Jesus. I left the grocery store and told my dad about it, and he said that the dude was not being a butthole but just trying to be friendly. I think he's totally effing wrong. The guy was being invasive and gross. But I'm also not shy about public confrontation, so I don't know if I was in the right here. NTA, the guy sounds like the kind of person who says, "You'd be prettier if you'd smile." Edit, wow, this comment blew up while I was off my phone. Thanks for the awards and for all the nice ideas. I usually, when in a work-related situation, put on my biggest fakest smile, which I affectionately call my cheerleader smile, and tell them to have a very very nice day in an over-enthusiastic customer service voice. It usually enrages them because they can see I'm sarcastic but can't comment further as I am smiling and being polite. My favorite part of wearing a mask in public is that I no longer have strange men telling me to smile. Oh, I love being told this. Because then I go complete crazy eyes smile on them and ask if that's better. If I'm smiley enough now, someday I can play my games again. My go-to is mustering up some fake teary eyes and telling them that I just had a death in the family, so that's why I'm not smiling, you insensitive butthole. But I hate having my train of thought interrupted with that crap, so while it can be funny to mess with those guys, I still prefer not having to deal with it at all. I've been diagnosed with cancer. Technically, true. It was 6 years ago and it's gone now, but they don't know that because rude-ass mother effer doesn't know me, so STFU with that, you should smile more. Bull crap. My 25-year-old niece did this earlier in the year. Some old guy in the pub said, "Smile, it may never happen," so she whipped her wig off and said, "It effing has, I've got cancer," and walked off. Apparently the guy's face was a picture, and I bet he won't do that again. Edit. Thanks for all the comments and support. Unfortunately, my niece passed away in April. Please, whatever you do, if you're female, go and have a smear test when the time comes. A beautiful life taken away because she was considered too young to have cervical cancer until it was too late. Please tell your niece the internet loves her. Please tell your niece she's the internet's new heroine. So badass. And F men who do that with a cactus. WTF is wrong with me? I was like, guys who do what with a cactus? Did I miss something? Goes back and reads more. Oh. Guys who do that should be effed with a cactus. Door. Not your fault, it was a little bit of a garden path sentence. I have never heard that term. Love it. Stupendous. All this, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, NTA. I usually go with a version of this. I reply, I'm so sorry to look so grumpy. It's just that. Followed by a long recitation of any and all of my recent misfortunes for X. It's just that in April my business I worked my whole life to open shut down due to COVID, and I got behind on rent, then found out I was pregnant with my 4th baby and I already had 3 under 5 years at home, then I got evicted, no job equals no rent, and also couldn't get prenatal care for 30 weeks due to COVID and having no one to keep older kids for OB appointments, so when I finally got to go to one OB appointment in August, my baby was in distress and I had an emergency C-section that day, where my preemie was whisked to NICU and I later almost hemorrhaged to death requiring a second surgery, and also all this was all alone due to COVID, plus the hospital called DCS due to no prenatal care and housing insecurity. Baby and I spent weeks in a hospital during a pandemic, then came home only to find out that all our clothes, shoes, coats, toys, books, Homeschool materials were thrown at us and we were fully homeless with nothing. Then I proceeded to drag my 4 babies from one place to another for the last 4 months because my unemployment pay, my tax return, my family's first and EBT benefits, all of which I'm eligible for and are due to me, are held up in our vagina-sucking crap show of a government, plus rental housing has dried up to nothing here, so I can't find crap or pay for it if I did. Until now I'm scraping $80 a day to stay in a motel with them and praying for a effing miracle to find a home, let alone Christmas gifts for them, not to mention I've not been able to teach my 5-year-old crap for homeschool, and all our routines, diet, self-care, etc. have gone to crap and we are forced to eat junk, never have clean clothes, etc. due to our circumstances. So sorry I'm not all smiles this Christmas. God, I effing hate people. You need to end it with and now I came to a store, thinking I'd just buy what I needed, but now I'm being accosted by a total butthole who doesn't know me and is telling me to smile more. How do you think that makes me feel and start crying? Someone get this woman the crowdfunding. This is where support should be going. Not to effing Amazon with those small business grants. I'm so sorry you're dealing with all that, you have my prayers. That's unimaginable. I hope you catch a much needed break. I wish I wasn't poor myself, so I could help you. My God, I love your niece. I have never had cancer, but I used to have a buzz cut, wore my hair like that for about 5 years. You know how many men, and some women, find it appropriate to randomly come up to a woman with short hair and ask, "Do you have cancer?" Way too many. I debated bursting into fake tears the next time someone asked, but I'm not a good actor. Did end up telling the last guy that he owed me $20 as a stupid question tax, but he got pretty violently angry. Do you have cancer? Pre-code, do you struggle with impotency? /code/pre. Pre-code, what? I thought we were playing the Ask Personal Medical Questions game, /code/pre. Stupid question tax. This is wholesome. I have since aged out of the random commands to smile, but I wish I would have had the presence of mind to do this. Unfortunately, a deep-seated and misguided childhood lesson that the most important thing is that you are nice/kind at all times combined with a bit of social awkwardness caused me to smile in an apologizing sort of way. I hated it but couldn't stop myself. Note to parents, both to boys and girls, but especially girls. While it is important to be kind, it is also important to know when and how to stand up for yourself. I transitioned out of it and my dad was the one who'd say this to me a lot. I'm just sitting watching TV and out of nowhere he asks why I'm not smiling. Every time it's a conversation about how nobody smiles 24/7 and I am content and stuff, and eventually I just smile ear to ear with crazy eyes and continuing to do what I was doing before, and I ask him this better? And it pissed him off so much. I would get my ass beat so many times for doing that, but it's worth it to make a effing point. Out of nowhere asks why I'm not smiling. I would get my ass beat so many times. Gee, Dad, I don't know. Maybe because I live in a house with adults who think it's perfectly fine to beat children. Basically, but it was a lose-lose situation for me. It always is with him. And don't worry, I moved out and I'm living on my own right now. He's still in my life, but very low contact, he doesn't even realize it too. It's sad, for him, and I have a great group of people who appreciate who I am as an individual. How old do you have to be? I just hit my 40s and they are still coming, even when at work in uniform random men walk up to me and say it. Wish I could figure that one out. I'm 31 and look like I'm still 16 to 18 and get accused of still being that young. I was about 27-ish when I pissed off some old lady at the cash register. She came up with her stuff and immediately went off on me. Why aren't you in school? You're too young to be working here. Like, geez lady, I have a child and I'm old enough to drink, what more do you want? But seriously, the women in my family age very gracefully. So I'll probably still get those smile comments well into my 50s. I do this too. I also nervous laugh in these situations too. I wish I could stop and be a sarcastic butthole, but I can't. This actually happened to me. I was getting harassed by some butthole that worked at Ralph's and I was still sensitive about my grandmother's passing, which was a few days prior if I recall correctly. The effort just went sorry, then said I should still smile anyways, BC grandma would want me to. So yeah, some butthole will still try it even if you use the dead relative to get him to back off. I once told a guy my dog had just died. My dog was fine. He looked totally ashamed of himself. I hope that lesson stuck. I actually did this to a guy who told me to smile at the gas station. It was the day I had picked up my mother's cremains. I simply told him I had my mother's body in my car if he'd like to see the reason I'm not smiling. Then told him to F himself. I was not in the mood that day. True. Sometimes I just make my resting death glare even more owl-like looking. Damn it. I need to step up my game. I only have resting bitch face. One time I was in the airport on the way to 2 funerals, my grandmother's and a friend who passed away from cancer, and someone told me to smile. I don't think he had ever experienced that much rage, but I secretly hope he will again. One time a dude said, "Smile, it's not that bad," and I said, "I just had 3 wisdom teeth out." The person she was with said, "So it is that bad?" I've been told that line so often. First, not smiling doesn't mean we're in a bad mood, but dealing with iftards will put us there quickly. Happened to me too. Someone told me off for being on my phone, in public, as it wasn't safe for young women. Put the front of a busy public building, on the pavement, at midday. When he refuses to shut up with my glaring at him, I told him to FK off. I was on my phone, finding phone numbers to contact people about a death, my sister, in the family. Intrusive people, usually men, can all just FK right off. That's brilliant. I'm 100% doing that next time. I like doing the one eyebrow raise and either saying no or why. And side note, I was at Walmart about a month ago or so and told my daughter to put her mask back on as she was starting to take it off, and the guy in front of me turned around. He had his hanging off of one ear. He realized I wasn't talking to him but put his mask back on too. Mom voice for the win, laughing out loud. Subtly epic. I used to carry Alka-Seltzer tabs with me, so when a guy told me to smile as I walked past, I'd pop into one in my mouth, and turn around and say like this, while foam dripped down my chin. NTA. It's none of his business and he shouldn't be saying anything unless it's actively affecting him. Also, I was so ready for this to be about masks. I smoke and people tell me all the time that it's bad for me. I usually respond with an over-exaggerated, "Really? No one ever told me." Wow, this changes everything. Either that or, so that's what the Surgeon General warning on here is about. My favorite is when obese people tell me smoking is bad, which is often since Americans as a whole have a huge weight problem. A nice did you know being overweight puts you at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and a lot of other health problems? It's really bad for you. You should lose weight. You have to say it in the nicest tone possible. I know people will say this is a butthole move, but I don't give a F. The offended look on their faces is priceless. Honestly, I think this is kind of a crafty comparison because you don't know if their weight is due to a medical issue. I'm overweight because a portion of my stomach is literally paralyzed and I physically cannot lose weight the normal way. I would be extremely upset if someone told me the risks of being overweight and that I should lose weight, because it's literally out of my control. Granted, I also wouldn't tell people to stop smoking when it's none of my business. But maybe you should try and find a comeback that doesn't have the potential to be making fun of someone's medical issues. Addiction is also a medical issue. I'm sorry that you're suffering with this, but a lot of people who smoke also can't help it. It takes someone about an average of 9 times before they can actually stop smoking. Also, the majority of Americans are obese because of food addictions, which are about equally hard to kick as smoking, if not harder, because so many people try to accommodate food addictions and obesity. So while it is pot kettle black from the commenter, 9/10 it is as well for the obese person. That being said, I don't condone making fun of people in general, especially if it is about their medical issues. Yes, I quit smoking. Food addiction is 10 times harder for me personally. I'm not fatter than your average mom who has had 4 kids, but with all their high-calorie snacks around due to kids' food allergies and stuff, it's really hard to not snack and lose that excess weight. Especially when I'm in pain all the time and tasting something nice may literally be the only nice physical sensation I have that day. Whatever someone's primary addiction is, they are a bitch to overcome. It's no one's business why you're overweight either, but if you're going to put your nose where it doesn't belong, then expect people to respond accordingly. I have hypothyroidism, one of the main excuses people use for being overweight, and I managed to stay a healthy weight. The vast majority, not all, of I'm overweight because of a medical condition is really it's more difficult for me to be a healthy weight. I made a cost-benefit analysis, and I'm fine with being overweight even with the health risks. Nothing wrong with that. Addiction is a medical issue. When I smoked and people said to me smoking kills, I just said, well, that's what I'm trying to do. They tended to get really awkward and just leave after that. Exactly, it's ops life, so that old dude had no right to shove his face in somebody else's business. NTA, and I don't know why everyone is clutching their pearls over swearing. Giving strangers unsolicited advice is not friendly, as your dad put it. You also first attempted to non-confrontationally dismiss the dude by telling him they were not for you. He took a beat to process and then ignored your dismissal by offering more unsolicited advice. You succinctly shut him down. I feel like reaction to swearing is a sort of regional thing, at least in the US. I'm from NY and nobody bats an eye there when you swear. I swear pretty frequently, it's just how I am. Sounds bad, but my mom swore a lot too. Whatever. Not a real indicator of morality or decency in my opinion. I recently moved to Alabama though, and oh boy. You swear here in public and you get the dirtiest goddamn looks. The kind of looks you'd get if you were swinging an infant around by its foot or something, just for dropping the F-bomb in a reasonably frustrating situation. One time I was literally having a panic attack at the doctor's office at the receptionist because I didn't know where my insurance card was. Long story, that was a bad time in my life, and I let the F-bomb slip, and the receptionist went off on me. Don't you dare swear at me? Like, lady, do you see me crying and digging through my wallet? Am I not very clearly in distress and here to get help? Could you cut me some slack? Op is not the butthole either way though. Dude probably wouldn't have said that to an older man. Did you swear at her, or swear in front of her? I'm not sure. I was having a panic attack and had vertigo lol. I know I didn't call her a name, but I might have let a swear word slip while I was trying to explain that I couldn't find it. I probably didn't slip it in a nuanced way that made it clear I wasn't swearing at her either, because panic attack. She was definitely not being nice about me not being able to give her my insurance card right then. I know after she yelled at me I tried to explain that I didn't swear at her intentionally, but I was hyperventilating. Regardless, if someone is crying and hyperventilating over something trivial like that, even if they are calling me names, I'd personally try to find the patience not to yell at them and make things worse. Most people don't seem to understand anxiety when it's right in front of them. She probably thought you were just a crazy person. Yeah, you're probably right. I'd argue that people that work in medical clinic/psychiatrist offices should get training to at least recognize that kind of thing, even receptionists. That's probably asking too much though when mental health is already under-prioritized in our country. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.